When you write a song, typically it comes from your heart, especially with gangster rap. Chuck D has changed the world. Chuck D is an icon from Public Enemy. He said something. He taught something. He educated millions of people. Ice Cube, fuck, Ice T, both of them, they're just up there. Civil War, Democrats. I think it's time for a civil war. Civil War, House sticker. I think we need another civil war. I'm tired of the red light camera scam. I'm tired of the insecure man. I'm tired of the Democrat using the blacks, reading from a script and the same act. Grab your bullets, put them in your gun. Find a Democrat, find his son. Let him know how it feels to die young. Hey, future Democrat, die young. Civil War. Fuck. I know that bothers you. I don't normally show off, but I'm in a show off mood today. This song is loud. So when I create a song and a beat, this is how it should be done. It's called tracked out. That means the instruments are playing by themselves. So this is the first instrument that I started off with. In my strong personal opinion, this instrument should be louder than any instrument in the song when you go to mix it. There's always something that stands out in a song. There should be anyway. Actually, I take that back. There shouldn't be. There's no rules and laws to creating music. That's what makes it somewhat interesting. This instrument is extremely important to me, and I like this. Drums, everyone hears drums. We heard the same patterns before. With instruments, the sequence, the foundation, that should be louder. I like this one more than anything. It's like a movie. It's like an intense movie. And it goes from left speaker to right speaker to left speaker to right speaker to center speaker. you have the high part that's again separate and sequenced by itself. You're supposed to create these things separately. So the low part is fast. The high part is now mellow. You don't want two things going fast at the same time. Now you want it mellowed. So the low part is going one way, kind of crazy, over here, and the high part is going another way, just chilled over there. Now, you don't want to have these instruments playing at the same time. That's one thing that Dr. Dre does and a lot of other people do. Rock bands and rock stars and people who play real live instruments, they don't typically play the same sequence throughout the whole song. Rappers do, but rappers really don't play shit. They sequence things. Switch it up. Whenever you play a video game, it switches up every 2 bars. Every 4 seconds, give or take, approximately. I haven't counted. I just know it switches every loop. Rappers don't do that. Once they create producers don't do that. Once they create a sequence, they just play that whole thing for the whole fucking song, and it's not interesting. Maybe it's interesting for the first time it played. Switch it up. So I switched up the high part with different notes. Then you bring it back to the original part. That's one. That's the second part. So I think another beautiful part about this beat right here, probably one of my other favorites, I haven't figured out what's my favorite, the main first part or the bass line. The bass line is an earthquake over here. Most of you people are probably cheap and you're listening to this beat on a computer or an iPhone, which has no lows. Back in the 90s, the good days, we had speakers, we had systems, we had 15-inch subs. We could hear all the lows and all the dynamics and all the mids and all the highs for any song. This bass line is nuts. It came from a $3,000 synthesizer. It took like about an hour to set the frequencies right for this bass line. It took another 30 minutes to set the EQ. And after I set the EQ on this bass line, I then said, let's use a vintage compressor to compress the fuck out of it to make it stand out even more. And that's what rides this song, is this bass line. It carries it. It's a roller coaster. Do 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 do. It has two parts to it, actually. This is the first part. Do 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 do. That's all playing on a track by itself. Do 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 do. Now you have the second part that comes afterwards. Um. Now you put them together. Do 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 do. I'm doing do 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 because I have a feeling you cheap bastards can't hear it. Do 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 do. If you put this in a concert venue or in your car, this bass line is crazy. It's nuts. Not only did it come from a $3,000 synthesizer, and we had to spend some time to set the frequencies to create this bass line, and not only did we EQ it with the Neve 1073 vintage preamp, like the original one, I then took another vintage compressor and compressed the fuck out of it once again to get it to where I wanted in this song. So that's banging. And last and not but least, the drums. So I spend a whole entire day with my drums. And when you spend a day with drums, you get what you're looking for. You try to keep in mind when you're a rapper or a producer, or you're just using digital synthesizers that are probably worth more than your car, all of them put together, you're trying to mimic a rock band. You're trying to mimic a live band. In a live band, there's a drummer. He has a kick, he has a snare, he has toms, he has hi-hats, he has crashes. There's a bass guitarist. That's a whole new person. There's a saxophone player. But even with the drums, there's like a numerous amount of different mics and a numerous amount of preamps and a numerous amount of compressors to get those drums right. This is my one kick by itself. It's banging. So that kick is going here. Doom, 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 doom. I then used another separate compressor to get a parallel kick going. And when I did that, now that kick dumps. And that kick hits here in the chest. Then when I put the bass line to it, the bass line is right here in my stomach, in my gut. So when you listen to this in the car or at a concert or wherever you listen to it at, the kick is here, the bass line's here. Boom, 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 boom. They each have a home. The kick has a home here, the bass line has a home over there, and those homes are in the same lot, which is in the same song. Now we'll mute these bass lines just for a second. I get a lot of compliments on my snares. I think I spend like a half a day on my snares alone because I try to find the right snare kit and I try to find the right snare sound, and then after I find the right snare sound by itself, I then blend them together. So this is my first snare. I love snares. That is just hitting here. It's hitting here. It's hitting here. It's hitting here. It's just hitting everywhere. But I'm greedy. I want more. I want more snares. So I find a second snare by itself. I just muted the first snare. I find another snare. It's a different snare. I like that. I'm greedy. Great. Now, I take the second snare and I put it with the first snare. Now, both of those snares, which sounds like one, it has a bottom and it has a top and it has a mid. And those are just the two snares by themselves. Then I take both of those snares as an individual. I run them through the Neve 1073. I spent a lot of time on EQing both of those snares by itself. And I'm still greedy. I take another vintage compressor, another one, and I parallel. So now I have 4 faders of snares that are in my control, that are EQ'd, that are preamped, and now they're compressed, both of them together. Beautiful. Boom. Now, is that a live rock band or a live drummer? Well, that's arguable. I'll let you decide. Some tell me the way I set up my drums sound better than a live drummer does. Some will say no, some will say yeah. I have a couple engineers who they're like old as fuck and they've been around and they had a lot of sessions with live drummers. Some argue and say that my shit sounds better than a live drummer the way I did it. I will argue that the equipment that I use should be getting the credit because they're the ones who sampled these sounds from live drummers when they were actually playing them. Did I mix up the formula and add something better to it? Yeah, I mean, I spent a lot of time doing it. So I would like to say, after hearing a live drummer by himself and then hearing my shit, I'll say at the very least, I think it sounds the same. I think some live drummers may get mad and say, no, that's not true. I'll say I think you're just mad because you spent your whole life trying to focus on playing live instruments, which you did a good job, and it's a lot more of a performance in mine. But at the end of the day, with the outcome, while you're doing this for years, I'm doing this for a little while, and the outcome seems to be the same. But you tell me. I don't know. I don't really care about that too much. What I do find interesting, and again, let me know, because I don't think no one proved me wrong on this one, and this is kind of fucked up, is the crash. So I have 3 crashes here. Crash left, crash right, and I don't know the center crash. I have one crash on one track that goes all the way to the left. I have one crash on another track that goes all the way to the right. I have a third crash that goes straight up. So I have 3 different tracks. People make fun out of me because I spend a lot of time tracking. I spend more time tracking than I probably do mixing, to be honest with you. If you track right, you'll have less problems during the mix. Here are my crashes. And even if you have cheap Apple earbuds and you're listening through that, you'll still be able to figure out what I did. Even if you're listening through a computer, as long as it's balanced, you'll still be able to figure out what I did. left, right, straight up. So during the whole song, that process is going the same way. You just have the same crash, but on 3 different tracks. Left, right, straight up. It's dynamics. It's entertaining for the ear. It's just simple panning. The songs in the 70s and in the 80s, they spent a lot of time panning. I think sometimes they pan too much because it just sounds weird when there's a guitar all the way to the left. So pretty much what panning is for you normal people when you're driving a car, you hear an instrument. It's really never stereo anyway because you got to be set in the middle of the car. But if you have phones on, or if you're in the passenger seat of a car and you have a song playing, you hear the guitar all the way to the left on the left speaker. Is it cool? I think it is. I don't think it's cool throughout the whole song, but, you know, who am I? Panning is cool. They did that all the time. They don't really pan too much these days, but they don't do a lot these days. And I have a feeling the reason why they don't pan these days is because they're not tracking out all their instruments. Left, right, straight up. That's excitement. That's mixing. That's part of mixing. That's took me a long time to do because you have to play these crashes throughout the whole song like that. You have to sequence it. So now you have the kick that goes straight up. You have the snares that go straight up. You have the crash that goes left. You have the crash that goes right. And then you have the crash that goes in the center. Sounds pretty good. And now we have to have the sand shaker. And the sand shaker, that goes... I have that set at a little bit at 2 o'clock. And the reason why I have the salt shaker or the sand shaker set at 2 o'clock, the hi-hat, is because I don't want it on the same direction as the kick and the snare. Everything has to have a home. So here's the salt shaker by itself. That's a pretty nice one, by the way. I got that from a vintage drum machine that they used for movies in the 80s, like Beverly Hills Cop. It's strong by itself. So the kick is going straight up. The snare is going straight up. That salt shaker is going to 2 o'clock approximately. The crash is going all the way to the left speaker. The other crash is going to the right speaker. The other crash is going straight up. I like it. Those are all the drums together. Yeah, that's a live. That sounds like a live drum band to me. All right. So here's the fun part for my Chicago heads. I don't like guns, but the sound effect is kind of cool. I did the same thing with my gun sound effect in this song. You have the gun cocking back on the left speaker, and then the other half of the cock back of the gun is on the right speaker, and then the gun fires off in the center speaker. And even though I'm not into guns, I do have to say it sounds very fucking cool the way I have these guns set up. I personally don't believe anyone has their gun sound effects set up the way that I set my gun sound effects up. I think they should. You tell me though. So they go every like 5 seconds. That was, yeah, that was loud. I think that was I think that was, that's hot. So, it's entertainment, it's dynamics. People will ask, why am I giving away all my secrets? Well, because I'm tired of hearing stupid, cheap-ass music, and I'm actually hoping you could do this with your shit. It's awesome. Last thing, then I gotta run. I can't be here all fucking day doing this, man. So these are the vocals. The vocals are probably, I keep saying everything is the coolest thing. The vocals are on 2-inch tape. So they're very sweet to the ear. They're very relaxing to the ear. I said in another interview or another video, I like Adele's vocals, but they're harsh. They're very hard on my ear to listen to. When I listen to Whitney Houston, it's relaxing to my ear. I'm enjoying it. I'm not annoyed. When I listen to Adele, I'm annoyed. And it's not because Adele's voice sucks. It's because Adele's voice was not recorded on a 2-inch tape machine like Whitney Houston's was. Whitney Houston's vocals, at the time in the 90s and in the 80s, you either pretty much went to a real recording studio or you didn't go into a recording studio at all. So artists and rappers and singers, they went to a recording studio. I don't think they really picked the equipment. The equipment was just there and they used it. Compliments of the engineer and Studer and Sony and Lexicon and all these other major corporations should get the credit for the sound. Here's the vocal. I don't want to get too much into this. My vocal's on 2-inch fucking tape, pretty much. And it has a delay machine from the 90s. The tape machine costs like $10,000. If you could even find a working one. A roll of tape costs $500. And the delay machine costs like $30,000. Plus, you have to still set it up right. So I'm not giving away all my secrets, but here's my vocals. I like it. Civil War! I think it's time for a civil war! Civil War! House stinker! I think we need another civil war! So, a lot of people don't want to admit this, and I don't have a real job, so I'm not going to get fired for saying something. I don't think there's anything that I could say that would shock anyone. For all you singers and rappers out there, believe it or not, unless you sound like Ice Cube, Ice-T, Chuck D, Scarface, Whitney Houston, or Adele or Taylor Swift, the majority of the people who listen to a song, they like the music. They like the beat. They like the piano. They like the violin. They like the guitar. They like the drums. They don't want to hear you taking over those beautiful instruments. And I don't think I'm sorry to have to be the one to tell you that. It's the music that people like. At the very best, the hook they'll sing at a concert or at a party or in their car. They're not really singing. I mean, unless you're Taylor Swift, they know every word. They don't want to hear you. They want to hear the music. So your vocal needs to be tucked in. Now these days, everyone is putting their vocal all the way on top, and they make the vocal louder, and they shouldn't do that. You're not Bon Jovi. You're not Metallica, and I am the first one to admit I don't think I have a unique rap vocal. Well, most of you guys don't have a rap vocal. I put my vocal in the mix. So I'm kind of just not taking over the music. I'm going with the music. It's like I'm in the ocean or at Lake Michigan swimming. The water is controlling me and I'm just vibing with it. I'm not vibing and controlling the whole entire lake. It's just not going to happen. People want the water. I can't beat the ocean. So my vocal, it's in. Civil War, Democrats. I think it's time for a civil war. Civil War, House nigga. I think we need another civil war. See how it's in it? It's not on top of it. You see how my vocal is there where you could hear it, but it's not annoying? I'll play you one rap verse. It's a good song. Civil War, Democrats. I think it's time for a civil war. Civil War, House nigga. I think we need another civil war. I'm tired of the red light camera scam. I'm tired of the insecure man. I'm tired of the Democrat using the blacks. From a script, and they're saying act. Grab your bullets, put them in your gun. Find the Democrat, find his son. Let him know how it feels to die young. Hey, future Democrat, die young. Civil War, Democrat. I think it's time for a civil war. Civil War, House nigga. I think we need another civil war. Civil War, Democrat. For a civil war, civil war, House nigga. I think we need another civil war. It's relaxing. It's calm. And when you write a rap song, when you write any song, again, there are no laws. It's not like you're going to have the police or the FBI show up at your door when you don't EQ something, when you don't build a song a certain way. This is just a foundation. When you write a song, typically it comes from your heart. Especially with gangster rap. Chuck D has changed the world. Chuck D is an icon from Public Enemy. He said something. He taught something. He educated millions of people. Ice Cube, Ice-T, both of them, they're just up there. I can't talk about how Ice Cube and Ice-T wrote a song because I never asked them that question when I talked to both of them. But I'm going to take a wild guess and say, or at the very least for me, I come up with the hook. I come up with the chorus. Some of you know it has a hook. Some of you know it has a chorus. Some of you know it has the main part of the song. And once I come up with that hook and that chorus, I then rap around that. And I stick on that topic. So for an example, this song is called Civil War. I think we need another civil war. Civil War. Democrats. I think we need another civil war. Civil War, House nigga. I think we need another civil war. That makes sense in a song because we probably are going to have another civil war. And one of the reasons for it is because these politicians, they're getting out of control. You could only do so much to the American people before Americans start saying enough is enough. So that makes sense. When I say Democrats, I then use the words House nigga. That makes sense because Democrats go ahead and they get a few people who look like me and they want me to believe that since you look like me, you have my best interest. Since you look like me, I'm going to vote for you. But the reality of it is, Malcolm X has already taught us, that's what you call a house nigga. And I think we learned our lesson from I'm not going to mention names right now with this song, but I think we learned our lesson from people who allegedly look like us. They're not going to help us. They're actually bad. They're bad. It's like Ice Cube said, they'll use a black one to do it to you. So if I'm ever in front of a judge or authority figure or a board, I don't want a black one. I don't want a Mexican one. I'll take my chances with the white one. That's just how I feel. That's just the reality of it. My own allegedly so kind, they fucked me more than I've already been fucked. So I just give me the white one, if that makes sense. Like, I trust the KKK more than I trust these so-called politicians who look like me, because the KKK will let me know up front, don't come here. The KKK will let me know up front, don't come to our swamp. I see that there's Nazis on the news. I trust those Nazis more than I trust these so-called black politicians and these Mexican politicians who supposedly look like me, because those Nazis will let me know right now their symbol, their flag, their Confederate flag, where they are. They will tell me up front, I don't like you because of the color of your skin. I don't want you here. And that's honesty. I know not to go in Tennessee. I just know I'm going to stay in Chicago. Thank you, Mr. Nazi, for telling me how you feel about me up front. Now there's no problems. At least there won't be from me. I'm going to stay in Chicago. These alleged black politicians, they won't tell me that up front. They actually trick me. And then there are other Nazis who control those puppeteers that are house Negroes. That's how they'll get me. So that's why this song makes sense. Civil war. I think it's time for a civil war. Civil war. Democrats. I think it's time for a civil war. Civil war. House nigga. I think it's time for a civil war. You got to make sense in your song. Ice Cube taught me that. You got to make sense. You got to tell a story. You got to tell what happened to you. I'll play the first verse. The first verse is matching it too. Civil war, Democrats. I think it's time for a civil war. Civil war, House nigga. I think we need another civil war. I'm tired of the red light camera scam. I'm tired of the insecure man. I'm tired of the Democrat using the blacks, reading from a script and they're saying act. Grab your bullets, put them in your gun. Find a Democrat, find his son. Let him know how it feels to die young. Hey, future Democrat, die young. Civil war. That's serious. That's loud. That's powerful. That gets people's attention. That's Ice Cube. That's Ice-T. It might even be, I don't know, did Ice Cube ever say that before? I'm known to be worse than Ice Cube and Ice-T as far as these lyrics goes. First of all, for law enforcement who's watching this, it's all legal. This is just a song, and it's protected under the First Amendment right. And second of all, for you sending this to your lawyers who are allegedly smarter than me, I would cite true threats from the United States Supreme Court. This is all entertainment. I don't mean any of this. I don't want a Democrat son to get blown up. Why would I want that? Then again, I didn't want a 7-year-old girl to get shot and die because she's poor and black. So why would I want that? Hey, let me call you back in half an hour. Yeah. Hold on one second. Okay. I'll be right back. I'm sorry about that. Someone was just booking my services. It's funny that some of you people don't think that I'm worth hundreds of thousands of dollars. I find that very interesting. So, like I was saying, I don't want a Democrat's son to die. I don't want no one to die. I think once you lose your life and you die, that's very seriously. That's heartbreaking for a mom. But Again, I didn't want the 7-year-old girl who got shot and died just because she was poor and black. I didn't want that. You know, I didn't want to be in prison for something that I didn't do. I didn't want that. I didn't want Commander Paul Bauer to die in the Thompson Center because some fucking demon was supposed to be in Menard State Penitentiary, but I didn't want that. That happened. I didn't want Ella G. French to die and have a bullet go right inside of her and she turned black and blue instantly because the demon who shot her was supposed to be in Pinkyville Penitentiary for buying that illegal gun anyway. But, you know, I don't think it's about what I want. I didn't want that little girl from Little Village who was holding her hand, holding her mom's hand on the way to get a cheeseburger. And she was so fucking happy because she's thinking she's getting a cheeseburger, a little child, and she gets a bullet in her back instead, and she drops to the concrete and loses her life and can't live a full life. So I didn't want that. I don't think it's what I want anymore. And I know this is making a lot of people happy, and this is making a lot of people very angry. But the reality of it is, any attorney will tell you that this is just a song. And they would cite the United States Supreme Court true threats. You got Snoop Dogg shooting the former president in a cartoon. It's true threats. None of this is real. It's like Stephen King. None of it's real. This is just entertainment. Don't be alarmed by rap lyrics. Maybe what I would do and what you're really alarmed in is you feel guilty and you have a guilty conscience, so you're not too sure what's necessarily true and what's not true. That's what it is from a serious psychological Chicago Blaxican psychology point of view. That's what it is. Don't be alarmed by lyrics, but these lyrics are real as far as they tell the good story. The first verse matches the hook more than anything. Civil War, house nigga. I think we need another civil war. Tired of the red light camera scam. I'm tired of the red light camera scam. I'm tired of the insecure man. That's powerful right there. These aren't the biggest words in a rap vocabulary. They're the biggest words that make sense. We're tired of the red light camera scam, meaning when you go over 6 miles per hour, they could find you, they could track you down. They have a whole entire system to track you down and find you. You go over 6 miles per hour, they got a camera that records your movement. They got a picture to take your license plate. They got a website dedicated to watching you allegedly violate that 6 miles per hour bullshit law, where you could see it so you don't waste their prosecutors and their lawyers' precious time. But when you try to kidnap a little girl and throw her in the back of your trunk, not only can they not find you, but they're now asking for the public's surveillance private footage. Well, why didn't you install more crime cameras the way you installed the red light cameras? Because that girl who got abducted and attempted kidnapped and who's going through some serious psychological issues for the rest of her life, she's not worth $1 billion like the red light cameras are. So that's a scam. So I say, I'm tired of the red light camera scam. The next line is, I'm tired of the insecure man. The reason why that man has the red light camera scam going is because he's insecure. He's not sure of himself. It will never be enough money to fill up that man's insecurities. You could give him $2 billion and he will never be fully secure with himself. So that line alone makes sense. I'm tired of the red light camera scam. I'm tired of the insecure man. I'm tired of the Democrats using the blacks, reading from a script and their same act. You say the Democrats, and I'm not a Republican, but let's just focus on the Democrats right now. We already know the Republican and what he does. We already know all about the Republican and the businesses. The Democrat actually is worse because he or she will go to the blacks and say, hey, I'm going to give you just a little bit more money on your link card, but I need you to vote for me. And while I'm giving you just a little bit more money for your link card, I'm getting over $100,000 from your poor condition, from your poor situation. If it wasn't for poor black people and poor Mexican people, Democrats would be out of business. Democrats wouldn't have a salary. Have you Googled a Democrat salary? The Democrat does not have your best interest. I quite frankly don't think none of them have your best interest, but they put that Democrat there to try to trick you. I will no longer be tricked by someone who looks like me. From now on, I don't even want to talk or deal with someone who looks like me because I already know why you're there. If you don't want to be called the house nigga, if you don't want to listen to Malcolm X when he said house nigga, and we have house niggas today, why don't you get yourself educated on affirmative action? Because you don't like that word. It used to be called illegals, but we can't call them illegals now. We make up the rules and we break the rules as we go along. Now they're called migrants because illegals, that's just wrong. It doesn't sound right, even though that was the rule that they first made up. Don't call them a house nigga. Don't listen to Malcolm X. Let's go ahead and say affirmative action for my educators, for my education people. You know what affirmative action is, right? Affirmative action, if I'm not mistaken, is where a company has to hire you because the color of your skin, because they need to make their quota. You need to hire a certain amount of black people for this company. You need to hire a certain amount of Mexicans for this company, especially the government agencies. You have to have. How many Mexican people do we have working for us? About 20. How many blacks? 15? Okay. Hey, that guy, Chicago Blaxican, he's at it again. Don't send the white man this time. Don't send the white girl this time. That's bad. The white man and the white girl, they already did some fucked up shit to him. Send in the black guy. And then I get this fucking geek with glasses on who's light-skinned, and I'm just sitting back like, holy fucking shit. I never saw you in the projects before, brother. I never saw you in prison before, brother. I never saw you on the streets before. I never saw you in high school before. But that's a good thing. You're not supposed to be in the Robert Taylor homes. You're not supposed to be in prison. And you're definitely not supposed to be in my school. But I could already tell how this is going and why they sent you. But let me be a dumbass like I normally am and give you the benefit of the doubt. Hi. How are you? So these lyrics are going good so far. Tired of the insecure man. I'm tired of the Democrat using the blacks, reading from a script and their same act. Reading from a script and their same act. Have you ever seen, and I've seen it lately, something's better than nothing. Have you ever seen a Democrat who looks like you and me just talking off the top of his head? Reading from a script and their same act. If you read from a script, typically you're full of shit. If you read from a script, I do not trust you. If you read from a script, more than likely, and you know this, for all my Democrats watching, for all my House Negroes watching, for all the people who can't stand me, God knows this, you know this. Just be honest to yourself. You don't have to be honest to me. I'm a spick rapper with a nigger name. I already know what I am. Trust me. You guys, I think a lot of you made that perfectly clear. I know what I am. I'm a piece of fucking shit. I know that's how you look at me. That's fine. Did you write that script? Your mom looking at you now? Your grandmother looking at you now? Your son looking at you now? I mean, do you have honesty in you? Did you genuinely write that script that you go on TV reading? I don't think you did. But the reality of it is, I cannot prove that you did not. So I won't stay on that subject and say you did not. But I will say that I am convinced that you did not. Maybe you had something to do with it now, because your owner will say to you, hey, Eric's pushing buttons here. Let's get these new house Negroes involved now. How do you feel about this? You want to add this in? I mean, maybe now. What? I say something wrong? I told you I was from the cotton field. You didn't believe me when I told you that, did you? I told you I'll never move up in the house. You didn't believe me when I said that, did you? It's alright. So let's go to the next line. I think it's the last line. Civil War! Democrats! I think it's time for a civil war! Civil War! House nigga! I think we need another civil war! I'm tired of the red light camera scam. I'm tired of the insecure man. I'm tired of the Democrat using the blacks, reading from a script and the same act. Grab your bullets, put them in your gun. Find a Democrat, find his son. Let him know how it feels to die young. Hey, future Democrat, die young. Civil War. Fuck. I know that bothers you. Oh, I know there's people trying to figure out what to say to that. I know there's people trying to figure out, can we arrest him for this? I thought we went over this. True threats. But let me be your therapist just for a few minutes, if you don't mind. Only for a few minutes. What bothers you about that last line when the lyric said, grab your bullets, put them in your gun, find a Democrat, find his son, let him know how it feels to die young. Hey, future Democrat, die young. What bothers you about that? Because I already know, but I want you to think about it. You're in a therapy session. I am your therapist. You got some psychological problems with you. Believe me, you do. I am your psychologist. I want you to look me right in front of my spick eyes. And don't say I'm not that, because that's what I am to you. I want you to look at me right here and tell me what bothers you about that line right there. Those lines. Grab your bullets. Put them in your gun. Find a Democrat. Find his son. Let him know how it feels to die young. Hey, future Democrat, die young. What? It's a song. They're lyrics. Can't get me. You could try. Go ahead. I don't care. I don't give a fuck if I die any damn more. Go ahead. I don't even like this life. Go ahead. But what bothers you? After you try to arrest me, after you try to make it a legal issue, after you go to your pussy boss and your pussy little nerdy, worthless state employee investigators, they tell you nothing. After you go ahead and do all that, let's get to the real fucking question from the spick rapper with the nigger fucking name. What the fuck bothers you about that? You don't want to answer the question. You want to beat around the bush? You want to dance? What bothers you about that is, for those who have a son, and for those who are a Democrat, you say to yourself, I'm thinking about my son. Is he trying to say he wants to kill my son? Is he trying to incite people with this song to kill any Democrat's son? That's my son. I love my son. I don't want my son to die by some fucking lunatic. Well, holy fucking shit, Mr. Man. Holy fucking shit, Mr. House Nigga. That's interesting you say that. Because I don't want my son to die by a crazy fucking lunatic. That's interesting you say that, Mr. Man, Mr. House Negro, because there are hundreds of black mothers out there who are single and their sons have died by bullets from demons on the streets of Chicago. And I'm pretty sure they didn't want that either. That's funny you bring this stuff up and you say that out loud. And I don't even think you said it out loud. I just have this gift where I could like hear what people are thinking. You know how many black people that have died because they're black and they're poor? You know how many mothers go through Thanksgiving and they don't even look forward to Thanksgiving anymore because their kid has died? And the dinner table at Thanksgiving is just not the same and never will be. So you don't want to talk about that. You rather focus on me and this song and these lyrics. But you don't want to talk about where these lyrics came from. For the record and for legal purposes and just because I'm moral, I don't want your son to die. I don't think your son should have to pay the price for your broke-ass Democrat ass. I just said these lyrics to try to get you to feel what everyone else feels on the south side of Chicago and in the other parts of Chicago. Will someone actually kill a Democrat's son because his dad's a Democrat? I don't know. It's not my concern. My concern is just making a song. Did someone actually shoot people because Stephen King wrote a book and told the story? I don't know. I don't know if Stephen King was really truly worried about that. I think he was just writing a book, but you would have to ask him. But you know what I do know? I do know that every alleged so-called Democrat city, such as New York and California and Chicago, are filled with murderers, rapists, crime, and the worst of the fucking worst. I do know that the Democrat system is not working. And I'm not a Republican. I know it sounds like that. I don't like either one of these motherfuckers. What's the problem? You okay? Doesn't feel so good, does it? Just hearing those lyrics. Grab your bullets, put them in your gun, find a Democrat, find his son, let him know how it feels to die young. Hey, future Democrat, die young. You don't like those lyrics, do you? But that's as close as I can get to get you to feel a certain way. That poor people, they don't like to die because they're black either. I can't get any fucking closer without breaking the law. Again, I'll say this for the record and for legal purposes and for moral purposes. When I wrote that, I don't want your son to die. I want you to feel what it's like to have the thought of losing a loved one. Like the thousands of other fucking people that have actually really did lose their loved one because they're poor and black. One last verse. I really got to go. I'm getting hungry. I'm getting cranky. And I just got booked. This is an important verse. Civil War. Your attorney journey. This is a good one. Civil War. For a civil war. Civil War. House nigga. I think we need another civil war. Of course I don't want to fight, but we're in a fight. Because control freaks take away rights. How long can blacks ask for help before history repeats itself? Money for the migrants, not for the vets. All you got was a stimulus check. That alone calls for a civil war. Find a Democrat son, lay him on the floor. Taxpayers, how much can we give? Food prices going up, it's harder to live. House niggas are all in the front row. Find out where their daughters are and you know, civil war. Shit. That's real. You didn't like that verse even more than you probably didn't like the first verse, huh? I mean, let's go over this, though. Remember, you're in a therapy session. Don't worry about it. Let's go over this.
Of course I don't want to fight, but we're in a fight because...
Of course I don't want to fight, but we're in a fight. Because control freaks take away rights. What does that mean? I don't want to fight. I want to play Nintendo. I want to have a threesome. I want to drink a 40 ounce. I want to smoke a carton of cigarettes. I want to just chill and have fun. I want to talk about things that we have in common. I don't want to fight. I'm not a fighter. I came from the worst place of the worst place in the history of Chicago. I didn't grow up fighting. I grew up with my head down. I'm not fucking with this motherfucker. Crazy psychopath. I don't want to fight. But we're in a fight. Because control freaks take away rights. No matter what politician is in office, every year that goes by, a right gets taken away. And that right doesn't come back. A lot of people are focusing on Democrat, Republican, and they start name dropping on who's the Democrat, who's the Republican. Every year that goes by, a right gets taken away. I'm not even going to go down the list of what rights have been taken away. The master plan is for us to end up like China. Don't talk back to your government. Don't make fun out of your government. Don't make YouTube videos about your politicians. No longer having guns. Remember when COVID happened? There's a video of people in Wuhan or Shanghai or Beijing. They were all stuck in an apartment building screaming for food. They couldn't get out. Why couldn't they get out? Because the government wouldn't let them out. Well, shoot your fucking way out. No, the government in China took away all their guns. That's what they're trying to do with us. Now, you want to go ahead and say that's crazy. You want to go ahead and say, no, that's not true. I will go ahead and say I will prove to you every year that goes by, a right gets taken away. Every year that goes by, while everyone is doing conquer and divide, good cop, bad cop, a right gets taken away. Of course, I don't want to fight, but we're in a fight because control freaks take away rights. Control freak. You have nothing to do. You have money. You don't know what to do now anymore. Typically, when people don't have money and they just work a 40-hour job, they're maintaining. They're getting their bills paid, their house mortgage paid. They're trying to have dinner at best just to have some memories. That's normal people. People like you, you're a control freak. You have money. So instead of saying to yourself, which is my beautiful saying, in this lifetime, I think there should be a point in every man and every woman's life where they say, all right, I have money. I have enough money. I have enough money to do what I want to. I played the money game. I achieved the money game. I conquered the money game. I don't have a mortgage payment. And if I do have a mortgage payment, it's for tax write-offs. Now I'm going to do what I want to do in life. Now I'm in a position to help the unfortunate. I truly believe every human should achieve that point in their life. Then they give back. Then they open up charities, and they open up foundations, and they give back. You don't know how to do that. You're probably a demon. You're probably from hell. I know I came from hell. I was in hell a couple times. Believe me. I probably had my own division in hell. You're a control freak. You don't know what to do with your money. You don't know how to be good. You don't know how to give back. You say to yourself, well, I worked my life so hard. My father worked hard to give me the money that I got. I'm not giving it to these other, what? What do you want to call them? You know what you want to call them. You're not a giver, which is fine. You think you could take your money and your assets to like the next place, which you can't. Control freak. Now you're at that stage and you're at that phase in your life where you just want to control things. And unfortunately, you do it with our money, which is really weird too. If you're so good at what you do, you could open up your own business. You could open up your own private law firm. You could open, but you're not. You do it with our money.
Wanna fight, but we're in a fight because control freaks take away rights. How long can blacks ask for help before history repeats itself?
How long can blacks ask for help? Black people have been fucked from day one, from the slave ship to the cotton field. I mean, how long can they ask for help? It's not hard, and it's not really an argument to realize that black people have a strike against them for most of the part. How long can they ask for help? That's a very good, strong question. But you know what? I'm getting worked up right now. You know, I just really, you know what? I want to fight. I want to challenge a lot of people to fight. I want to sign, because I don't like to talk, believe it or not. I want to go back to high school. I want to pick a certain amount of people who believe they're tough, and I want to have them sign a consent form like a celebrity boxing, and I want to say you can grab anyone you want. It doesn't matter who it is, your security detail. You can grab anyone you want, and let's fight, sign here, and no matter what happens, I don't get to go to prison for winning this fight. That's what I want. And that's why I need to see a therapist, by the way, because I want to, you people act tough, and I know you're not tough. I know you're not. Believe me, I know people who are tough. I met killers before. I met terrorists before. I looked them dead in their eye, and I tortured the living fucking shit out of them and slept like a baby the same night. You're not one of them. That's not you, but you seem to act this way. How much more...
How long can blacks ask for help
before history repeats itself? History's fucked up. History's bad. History's evil. I don't want to know about history. I can't comprehend history. I just can't comprehend it. But the one good thing about history is we know about it, so we don't have it repeat itself. It's repeating itself. Black people aren't on the slave ship anymore. Black people aren't on the cotton field anymore. Now they were in jail and they were in prison for selling weed. Oh, that's history repeating itself. We just took out the slave ship and we just took out the cotton field, but we put them in concrete slave ships, and we're still getting the same thing that we got from the slave ship and the cotton field. While they're in the jail cells, we're still getting money. What was that, $43,000 a year from Cook County Jail for each inmate? It's the same shit. It's just not the slave ship, and it's just not cotton field. The slave ship and the cotton field were active for money. Cook County Jail and being in there for weed, that's money. They're still getting money. Money is the end game. Slave ship, cotton field, jail, penitentiary, weed, black, money. It's the same shit. History repeats itself. How long can blacks ask for help before history repeats itself? It's real.
How long can blacks ask for help before history repeats itself? Money for the migrants, not for the vets. All you got was a stimulus check.
That's fucked up. That's probably the best line in this fucking song. Money for the migrants, not for the vets. All you got was a stimulus check. I have never seen the government move as fast as I did and spend and gather the amount of money that they did for a bunch of fucking foreigners who are not from this country. Black people have been needing help from day one after you locked them up and put them in a slave ship. Got them a link card. You gave the vets a little bit here. It took a long time to get the fucking vet hospital going. I mean, that took an arm and a leg. I don't know if you guys remember that. But for some strange, crazy reason, when these migrants came in, not only did the government get all this money and raise this money, like, it was a lot. They did that shit fast. We got homeless people in Chicago since I was born. Homeless people sleeping. Nothing was really done about it. But the migrants come in, holy shit, we're getting hotels for these motherfuckers. What happened? What was the holdup for the black people? No, and I'm being serious. I know there's a lot of people who are like cheering me on, which I don't really need that. But there's a lot of people who are angry right now. They're still focusing on, is Eric trying to get people to kill my son because I'm a Democrat? That's what you're still focusing on. And I already answered that question. I'm on this. How the fuck were homeless people in Chicago sleeping on the street for years, decades? How the fuck were black people, most of them were black, let's just be honest here, black homeless people in Chicago sleeping on the floor, in the alleys, on the ground for decades? But when these fucking foreigners came in from another country, you sure did get a lot of hotels for them. You sure did create a lot of beds for them. You sure did get a lot of food for them. You sure did get a lot of programs for them. You sure did get a lot of money for them. How the fuck did that speed happen? And I know any investigator watching this right now, you're saying to yourself that, I mean, I really hope they don't try to take Chicago Blaxican to court because they don't have an arm and a leg to stand on. I really hope they don't try to take Chicago Blaxican to the court because they have to play this full video from the beginning to the end. There is no redaction. You know what you should be saying to yourself, though, Mr. Investigator? Which I think most of yous are. Most of yous. Except for the two peons that just sucked the cocks and swallowed their boss's cum. Most of you are saying that, damn, you know what? Eric's right. It's right. I'm not right. I didn't create this. It's right. This is just a song. That's all this is. No need to be alarmed. Freedom of speech, First Amendment. Calm down.
How long can blacks ask for help before history repeats itself? Money for the migrants, not for the vets. All you got was a stimulus check.
What the fuck? You think about that for a little while? It took years to get these link cards rolling. It took an arm and a leg to get the link cards at the dollar amount that they're at. It took years to get the vets to get a VA hospital. That took years. I remember it. Believe me, I lived through it. I remember watching it on the news. What's taking so fucking long to help out a vet? These migrants come in, they get a lot of things handed to them instantly. And all you got was a stimulus check. I don't ever remember getting free money from the government. I don't remember getting a check for free. Quite frankly, I don't really want it, and I want to work for my own shit, but let's just say we need it, which is fine. We got a stimulus check out of like 44 years. That's what we got. Everyone got a stimulus check. Thanks. 44 years. But these migrants, they got more than a stimulus check. The vet, it took him a long time to go to another country, sweat his fucking ass off, sweat her fucking ass off, live in the sand, live in the jungle, high temperatures that their body is not used to, plus they have their uniform on. I mean, they could have died. They came back mentally with all kinds of fucked up shit. And they got, like, a stimulus check. But for some strange reason, a migrant comes from another country and they get more than what the vet gets and a stimulus check. How did that happen? Yeah, that rhymes, motherfucker. That makes sense in this song.
How long can blacks ask for help before history repeats itself? Money for the migrants, not for the vets. All you got was a stimulus check. That alone calls for a civil war. Find the Democrats, son, lay them on the floor. Taxpayers, how much can we give? Food prices going up, it's harder to live. House niggas are all in the front row. Find out where their daughters are and you know, civil war.
Food prices going up, it's harder to live. Is that not true? Are the food prices going up? Is it harder to live? Do they keep taking away from us every single time?
Money for the migrants, not for the vets. All you got was a That alone calls for a civil war. Find a Democrat, son, lay him on the floor. Taxpayers, how much can we give? Food prices going up, it's harder to live. House niggas are all in the front row. Find out where their daughters are, and you know, civil war.
Are you still focused on your daughter? That's what you're thinking about during this whole thing? Did I say your daughter's first name? Did I say your daughter's last name? Did I say where your daughter works at? Did I say where she lives? No. I don't want nothing happening to your daughter. Why would I want that? Remember, though, it's not what I want. I didn't want that little girl to die in Little Village because she was getting a hamburger, and I didn't want her to get a bullet in her back, but she ended up fucking dying. It's not what I want, son. You're focusing on your daughter again. I already said true threats, House Negro. I already said true threats, man. I asked you a fucking simple question. Rewind. Food prices going up, it's harder to live. Is food prices going up? Food is a necessity. We're not asking for ribs. We're not asking for steak. We're asking just for basic food. And quite frankly, chips have gone up. You realize in the ghetto and in poor communities that we eat chips because it's cheap and you get more for the buck? You realize when I was a kid, I would get a big-ass bag of chips, and I know you people are saying it's not healthy. That's what I had to go off of, though. Eating chips is better than eating nothing. Now chips are gone up. You know, healthy food is more expensive. See, I got you upset. Don't worry about it. You know what? We're okay. I'm not feeling this anymore. I was having fun, but you're not having fun. You're taking this personal. And I think you think I'm from another fucking planet, but you're smart enough to realize the lyrics in this song, these are legit concerns. You don't give a fuck. Don't worry about it. I did my part. I'm just doing my part on planet Earth. I'm not pussy. I'm doing my part on planet Earth. There's another verse to this song too, but I'm done. Don't worry about it. Hope you guys like the session, bitches. It's just a song. True threats. Freedom of speech. Don't be alarmed. You got a guilty conscience?